Hey guys, this is Eric from Miller Music, and today we're talking all about pedalboard and pedalboard setup and how to get great tones from your pedalboard. So truth be told, for most guitar players, tone is like the holy grail. We can never really seem to find it. We're always searching for it, and we're never really satisfied with our own current tone. So we're always searching for that perfect tone. But today, what I want to do is just give you 3 tips for finding good tone despite whatever equipment you have, and how to really achieve good tone using those 3 tips. All right, so let's jump right in. So tip number 1 is actually not using your pedalboard. It's actually knowing your guitar and your amplifier. Okay, so starting out with those and knowing specifically with the guitar, what do the pickups sound like? So for example, what is the bridge pickup sound? Oh, that's the bridge. What does the bridge pickup sound like compared to the neck pickup? Okay, so really knowing the difference in tones. For your amplifier, it's knowing how to set it up. So this is a tube amplifier, and it's a low wattage tube amplifier. It's a Fender Blues Junior. It's 15 watts. I like a lower wattage one because you can really crank it and get those tubes working to get a nice tone before you apply the effects to that tone. Another reason I like Fender is because they're really clean amplifiers. So when you add your pedals to them, you're not getting a lot of other, distortion sounds, other effects. It's just a clean guitar amplifier sound. So that's really tip number 1, is just to know your guitar, know your amplifier, know how to set the settings on your amplifier. So for this example, I have it, at 5 for the master volume. That really gets those tubes working the right way. All right, so the second tip for getting good tone through your pedal board is understanding signal flow. And what signal flow is, it's the order in which you place the pedals. Okay, so pedal 1 is going to affect the sound of pedal 2. Pedal 2 is going to affect the sound of pedal 3, etc., all the way out the chain. So we typically call these, a chain of pedals. This is the typical way that you would normally have your pedals in order. So the first thing is compression. This is a Keeley Tone workstation, and it has a built-in compressor in it. And then there's a drive. That would be the second in the pedal chain. You can have another overdrive, so you could either play these together, or usually you just play one instead of the other. This is a clean boost, so this would be used to kind of amplify one of the drives or amplify everything coming before this, okay? And typically used if you want a solo, but would be using the same sound that you had in either one of these drives, okay? Then from here, you're taking this tone and you're putting it into the delay pedal. This is a Walrus Audio, it's ARP87, and you're adding delay to this signal. Then out of the delay pedal, you're going into a reverb pedal. This is the Oceans 11 by Electro Harmonics. And then the last in the chain is Walrus Audio ACS1, which is an amp sim and cabinet emulator, which actually I don't have for this video because we're using a real amplifier, but this would be used if you're going direct into a PA system or an audio interface. So other ways you can affect the chain is to actually try moving some of the pedals around. So putting the reverb before the delay or putting the distortion after the reverb, that can affect the sound greatly. But this is typically the way that you would normally do this. So let's move on to step number 3. All right, so now that we have an idea of signal flow, I want to talk about tip number 3, which is what pedals do you actually use? For most styles of music, country, rock, jazz, blues, there's really 4 pedals that you can use that will help with all those styles of music. The first is a compressor. The second is an overdrive pedal. The third would be a delay pedal, and the fourth would be a reverb pedal. Those are really your basic 4 pedals that you can, use for most styles of music. And what I want to do is just kind of demonstrate those and how they sound. So the first is just a compression. And that will take some of the lowest part, depending on how you set it. It'll take the lowest notes and bring them up a little bit, and it'll take the highest notes, the loudest notes you play, and it'll bring them down. So it tends to smooth out the tone, depending on how you set up. And each compression pedal is a little bit different. With this one, this is a Keeley Tone workstation. I have a blend setting, so I can blend in the amount of uncompressed sound with compressed sound. So it just gives it a nice tone to start with, and I always start with the compression at the beginning. Now adding a little bit of drive to that. That's a little bit of a drive, kind of a rhythm guitar sound. I'm going to sound a lot different with a neck pickup. All right, that would be like a rhythm, you know, solo kind of bluesy sound. If I want to bump it up and add more drive, this would be more for lead work. Or more of like, you know, chugging power chords for a little bit heavier of a tone. Sometimes what I'll just use is a clean boost with, you know, if I'm getting a jazzier or cleaner type of sound. Next is your delay pedals, and delay pedals just takes the signal, records it, and then plays it back at a certain duration later. So you can have different settings for the amount of repeats, how many repeats is it going to do, and how quick is that going to repeat once the pedal has recorded it. You can also have a tap tempo. This has a tap tempo where you tap in the tempo of the song and it repeats in sync with that tempo. So it's a really cool feature. Next up is the reverb pedal. This is an Ocean's 11 by Electro Harmonics. A bunch of cool settings in this one. Everything from your traditional hall, your spring reverb. This is the plate reverb setting, which is emulating the plate reverbs in an old recording console. So if I combine the delay pedal and the reverb pedal, you can get a nice tone out of that. And then if I add the distortion back in, all right, guys, so just to sum up, the 3 tips are, tip number 1 is to know your instrument, know your guitar, know your amplifier, and then really set those up to get the best tone out of your pedals. Tip number 2 was to understand signal flow and what the order in which you place the pedals in, how that affects the sound. And then tip number 3 is knowing what pedals to use, what pedals to get, okay? We reviewed and we talked about compression, overdrive, delay, and reverb pedals. So I hope you find that helpful, guys. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button to get updates on future videos. We do everything about songwriting, music production, and guitar. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care.